Server from 17 once again. This is my Thief Master Difficulty video walkthrough. We are still in the Hidden City, and we've got a couple of tricky rooms coming up. This room is not tricky, it's just kind of annoying, because they have the crazy saggy bum monsters knocking about for some weird reason, other than, you know, here's a different enemy type for you to not combat with. And all you need to do is turn this valve, and I don't actually think this valve makes any noise, but I'm paranoid, and I think it's best to be safe on some games. So I wait for this guy to stagger off like the drunken, homeless, naked man he is, and then we continue through this door into the life's blood of the rest of the level, which I think is a puzzle involving fire coming up, which, you know, why not? It's nice to intersperse the adventure with little things to remind you that it's not all the same. So do not go to the right or you'll get set on fire. If you come up here, there's going to be a lovely flaming pipe. As soon as the pipe stops flaming, you need to run to your left and you need to turn the valve off. The valve rotates to the right, I believe. And you'll want to remember that, because you have to be quite quick here, because if you don't do this fast enough, you'll be set on fire and you will immediately fail. But now that you've done that, it opens up the next area, and I think the next area is another problem that I had with scripting. So on my first playthrough of this game, I had no problem with this section coming up, but on the guide, the two people had a conversation like they're scripted to do, and they do every time, but instead of moving away and carrying on with the level, they stand there like idiots, and there's nothing I could do about it, so I had to risk being spotted to solve it. And it was really frustrating, and I'm curious to anyone who's played it if you've ever had this problem or if you've seen them move away, because I know on my first playthrough I would have remembered this area if not for the fact that they didn't stand there like idiots. So the first thing that will interrupt scripting, if you've not noticed, is alerting people. When you alert them, you interrupt their script. They will not complete their script unless they go back from being alerted. So sometimes, not frequently, but quite a lot of the time, the script will just end and stop before it's finished, and then you'll wait and wait and wait, and eventually it'll start up again. Sometimes that doesn't happen. It's a little buggy in that regards, but for the most, the scripted stuff is hit and miss. So listen to this conversation, and look, it ends, and they just stand there. And I know that this is not right, because there's no reason why they would. It's not how this is supposed to play out. Something has gone wrong at this point. And you're left with two options. Throw a bottle if you've got one, or fire an arrow if you've got one. And all you want to do is you want to make them turn away from where you want to go. It's that simple. But it's just really strange when stuff like this happens, because it's almost like the game thinks they're still talking, but they're not. Like, look at them, they look like they've got nothing to them. They don't even look like they're mobile or alive, they just look... And boom, I do that, they kinda see something. It sets them off, wakes them up, I fire an arrow to get them super suspicious, and then this allows me to drop down. And all of this because I believe a scripting problem. And it's just unlucky really, but it'll happen. And you might find them in other parts of the game where I didn't, so just be aware of it. But it wastes so much time of just dead air. And then finally they bugger off, and as soon as their torches move away from this doorway, you want to hit it and you want to carry on with the rest of the game before they slow you down anymore. Like, I can't wait to kill this pair. I'm going to arrow them both through the eye, and I'm going to enjoy every second of it, every glorious visceral moment, because it's just bizarre how that stuff happens. But I'm waiting for them to move away from where I need to go. He moves back down there, so I climb up here, and you'll notice to my left there's another one of these convenient loading spaces. Oh, I wonder what we'll find in here. Oh my goodness, a huge piece of timber. I'm not surprised this guy ain't got calloused hands or, you know, completely mad by splinters with how much wood he moves. It's like a gay porn star. But here's another pointless room. Turn a valve, open a door. There you go. If you want to make your game a little bit longer, turn a valve, open a door. Castlevania Lord of Shadow does a couple of instances of this, where you turn a power button on that's 5 yards from the button that needs to be powered. It's just very strange. Very arbitrary and silly. But this next room is probably one that most are going to struggle with, because it's long, there's not that many checkpoints, and there's so many birds and bullshit and glass, it makes it really tricky. Also, you can get a little bit unfortunate when it comes to the scripting of the dialogue between two guys here. And a perfect run through of this is after you hit the cupboard to get the checkpoint to my right, when you push forward to that archway that's lit up, and when you turn right, those two guys will have finished talking and they'll be walking up. If you get that, you're perfect. If you don't, you're going to have to sit and wait and watch. Which I advise you to wait for them to finish the conversation and then go and save after it. So if you do cock up, and chances are you might, you don't have to listen to these two idiots pretend to talk and do it really badly. Because the conversation ends and the other guy's still waving his hands because there's audio out of sync problems and all sorts of craziness that happens on this game. But look, he's talking to the dude and the dude's already walked off to the next position. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to hit the save point. And you might be wondering, why don't I swoop? Well, to my left on that box is a bird cage. Bird cages are terrible. And this next area is littered with them, so swooping is a bad idea. But I've got a fantastic path which works. So you want to follow these guys. I'm a little bit farther behind than I would like, but it's not a problem. As soon as you go into shadow on this corner, you can swoop. And you want to swoop and climb up. But be careful swooping after this point, because there's a bird cage on that cart to my right. I'm going to look at those guys on the bridge before I carry on, because I'm about to step directly into light. As long as they're not looking, I can hit these candles and get some shadow. Now that we've got this, the hard part's pretty much done. The rest is kind of simple. I'm going to come over to the glass, pick up the bottle just in case I need it in future levels. And these two guys are going to have a conversation. When the conversation ends, one of them exits to the left and carries on. The other guy sits in a chair and falls asleep. When people are asleep, they can't see you. It's a terrific mechanic. And that's going to enable us to crawl forward, hit the candle so we're in darkness once again, and then we can climb a box and get the hell out of this tricky level. But a lot of this is patience and it's pathfinding. My first journey through this area, it took about an hour because I tried every direction to find something that was interesting. I tried using rope arrows, I tried going through that building that leads out where they're stood next to. I tried a whole bunch of stuff and none of it was fluid, none of it was quick. And then I staggered onto this one, and this one really worked. So as soon as he sits down, give him a second or two and then hit this light. Do not boost, you can see there's a bird to your left. If you swoop, you're just dead. And then all you need to do is climb this. Don't stand up, just let the game auto-climb, because sometimes if you stand up and then climb, the bird will catch you. And then from this point onwards, it's just literally following a very simple path. Swing to the rope, jump to the roof, and then get to that claw space as quickly as you can. And you've just done one of the toughest rooms in the game. To figure out, anyway. When you watch it like I've just showed you, it looks simple, but only the stealth savvy and the very lucky will get through this room without realising what they've done, because it's a big one too, a very big room. And then all that's left to do up here is, I believe, to open a box, and this is going to lead to the next boss. So put your water arrows on if you want to be extinguishing, that's the wrong word, extinguishing the braziers, and get ready to turn some valves like your life depends on it, because that's exactly what we're about to do. So thank you for watching, and as always, you take care now.